What's up, guys? Derek, Lion and Panda. I want to talk to you guys today about something very simple that small business owners continue to, overlook, right? If you really think about it, most of the time, small business owners pay for every transaction or they pay for every lead opportunity. Every appointment that they get, for the most part, are appointments that is being driven by the marketing. You'll have some repeat customers. You may get a referral. There may be other sources. But for the most part, the strategy that I see most of the time that I've been working with small business owners, in particular service companies, HVAC, plumbing, roofing, anything in the in-home services business, it's very new lead, new customer, new acquisition oriented. And it makes sense. You have to have a strategy that takes care of those new acquisitions. But the problem is your acquisition cost continues to stay high. And when you look at this current environment, and it doesn't matter the current environment or not, every year or so, the cost of doing business continues to rise, right? And it doesn't matter the industry, right? If you're in real estate, you can make the same complaint, right? What it used to cost, a $500,000 house is now a $750 to $1 million house, right? The same thing's going on all across the board, all across the country, right? Costs continue to rise for whatever reason. But when it comes to your business, we know that costs are going to continue to go up, but our profit margins, cannot continue to suffer in that process, right? We have to figure out ways to acquire customers or to extract revenue from customers without constantly keeping those acquisition costs high. And many small business owners are facing this right now where they're like, hey, I'm doing, the revenue's coming in, I'm doing the business, but, there's really not much left over. And depending on, how long you've been in business, your financial situation, a lot of these companies have been running negative for quite some time, right? And they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to, get rid of marketing tactics that don't work. Radio used to be, very impactful. And for many businesses, it still is impactful. I am not anti-radio. I'm not anti any medium or any channel of marketing, period, right? If it works, it works. But, there are people that are, evaluating their marketing ecosystem and cutting this, cutting that, because again, the cost of doing business, the cost of acquiring new customers is getting so expensive. But that is my main premise in today's conversation, is not always being so new customer focused and starting to look at that deep Rolodex of past customers that you have and figuring out ways to extract revenue from them, right? It's almost like you forgot about them. You did the transaction, you did the roof leak or gave them a new roof, new siding, fixed their HVAC problem, fixed their plumbing problem, did their remodel, and the rest is history. You never contact them again. You never nurture them in any way. You never kind of, keep that relationship warm. You certainly don't offer them new things with new offers. You certainly don't reach out for referrals. So again, you stay in this loop of paying for every lead. And again, costs are up. You're continuing to pay for every lead because you don't nurture, because you don't reactivate past customers. So everything stays expensive. Your profitability continues to suffer. But most of you have this deep Rolodex that you could be contacting. Every so often, you guys can think of the cadence, right? It can be a seasonal cadence. It could be a monthly cadence, but you're constantly reaching back out and not asking for business, not saying, hey, you need that siding, or hey, we're not, it doesn't work that way. The nurturing aspect is you consistently sending them content that is value added to them, okay? If it's plumbing, around the springtime, we have a lot of rain. Well, let's talk about sump pumps. Let's talk about flooding. Let's talk about relevant topics that when they receive this information or this content, they're enlightened, right? It's a value added piece. Depending on your business, right, in the B2B space, some of this information can be case studies. Some of this can be quarterly, commercial HVAC checkups for your facility, right? You guys know the information that is valuable to the customer, but you're not putting it out in content form. You're not getting the messaging out. You're not nurturing any of these relationships. Now, there is the aspect of offers. Now we're starting to get into conversions, but you have to nurture before you get to conversions most of the time. But we can also put out offers, right? New install, X amount of dollars off, right? Something sexy. Retail does it all the time. Retail being, very low margins, they live or die with this constant nurturing, this constant contact of customers to be able to sustain their business. They can't always sell new t-shirts and new trinkets and shoes and different things to new customers. They will die. They have to have a reactivation strategy. They have to be able to cultivate some of those past relationships to gain that customer loyalty. In the service or the home service space, it can be a little difficult to do that because once you do my siding, I may not have a need for you for quite some time. The roof is good, the siding's good, I don't have any problems, my gutters are okay. But I can still nurture you. I can still build brand loyalty. I can still reach out to you and talk about a referral opportunity. Because I did such a good job on the siding, because I do such a good job of continuing to nurture and give you value-added information, you trust me, you like me, there's a relationship built. So when I have a referral opportunity and I say, hey, if you refer someone to me for a new install, you get $300 off, they may jump at the opportunity. And this doesn't have anything to do with societal affluence, in my opinion. Unless you're sending these types of messages to multimillionaires, everybody cares about making a little bit of money or saving a little bit of money, right? Everyone, even your upper middle class who are doing very well, they see an opportunity to save money or make money. They look at that opportunity as a golden opportunity. They're like, hey, well, I do know someone that may need siding. I do know someone that may need an install. I remember such and such talking about this at church or whatever the situation is. But again, we're bringing all this back to nurturing our past customers and reactivating them to create revenue opportunities. We're still in this loop of paying for every lead. Acquisition costs stay high. Profitability continues to dwindle because we won't reach back out. There has to be a cadence. There has to be a rhythm to this situation. And you guys all probably already have the means to do this. You probably already have CRMs. You probably already have some platform that allows you to reach out. And remember, these are past customers, so they've already opted in. Unless they opt out, you can freely email, you can freely text, and you can get crafty for how you use each medium, right? But again, we can't keep staying in this loop of paying for new customers all day, every day. We have to start reaching back out. We have to start building relationships. And this is the part where a lot of small business owners, they just don't do it. And maybe because they've never had to, but the costs are continuing to go up. The economy is very shaky. Whether you think we're in a recession or not, maybe by definition we are not, but there is a huge part of this economy that is running out of money. There's a huge part of this economy that is seeing some financial strain. Maybe that's not your customer base, but maybe it is because, again, the affluent still will clench their wallets at the right times because they're smart. They don't lose money. They're very sharp. They're very invested. So if they're, if you're a home remodeling type of company, make an offer, nurture, give them really good content and build that relationship, right? That may maybe entice them to do business. But if you just continue to play the old game of let's put out some ads, some yard sign, let's canvas, maybe we tap into radio, maybe we tap into mailers, things of that nature. All of that is fantastic to have in your ecosystem, no doubt about it. But if reactivation, if nurturing those past customers is not a part of your strategy, you're going to be paying for every opportunity. It's going to get very expensive. And some of you soon will have to either fire incredible amounts of staff or shut your doors completely. It's a very new game.